Hi, I'm Lisa Marie, and welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life.
If it's your first time here, I'm so happy to see you. And if you've been here before, welcome back. We do DIYs, crafting, and discuss interesting topics. It's all about honoring God by living our best life. So let's get started right now. Today, I am participating in an DIY collaboration called International Christmas Ornaments. Everybody in this particular collaboration picked a country that they have some connection to and then created ornaments accordingly. I am super excited. The hosts of this collaboration are DIY with NADIA and KRAFTY LEENY. Their links will be in my description. Definitely check out their channels. They're very, very talented crafters. And also, there'll be a playlist link in the description and you can go and see everybody's videos. It's going to be super interesting. All these different countries. You might learn something too. So let's get right into it now. I picked Scotland because that's part of my background, and my husband is also Scottish. Just to give you a little background, before the Reformation in 1560, Christmas in Scotland had been a religious feasting day. And then, with the powerful Kirk frowning upon anything related to Roman Catholicism, the Scottish Parliament passed a law in 1640 that made celebrating Yule vacations illegal. Can you imagine? Even after Charles II was restored to the throne, celebrating Christmas was frowned upon in Scotland for a long time. In fact, it wasn't until 1958 that December 25th became a Scottish public holiday. That's just over 400 years. And because of that, most of what you see in Scotland really comes from the Western world or the England part of UK. So really, they don't have a ton of their own specific traditions. So I went for some things that are very specific to Scotland itself. DIY ornament number 1. I got some free printables online, and I also ordered a really cool book of scrapbook paper that had all kinds of Scottish plaids. It was really inexpensive on Amazon, like just over $5. I decided to trace just the part that looks like fabric in this printable, and I'm going to cut out a plaid to put right on there. And so what I'm doing right now is just penciling over the edges, and then I'm going to trace that by writing on the back side and kind of imprinting that pencil that I traced onto the back of the scrapbook paper, and then I can cut it out. You'll see what I'm going to do here in just a second. In Scotland, the Great Highland bagpipe is perhaps the world's best known bagpipe, and it is native to Scotland. It's actually acquired widespread recognition because of its use in the British military and in pipe bands throughout the world. So you see here how the pencil marks transferred onto the back of the scrapbook paper, and now I can just go ahead and cut that out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would invite you to do so. Also, turn on the notifications so you'll know when I upload a new video. The next thing I'm going to do is Mod Podge that little piece of the plaid scrapbook paper right onto my printable and get rid of that weird looking one that came out of my printer, because I want to customize this a bit and make it really cute so it will look like a nice ornament. If you like this video, be sure to give me a big like and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. A little trick that I use after putting Mod Podge on the top is to get a piece of plastic wrap or a Ziploc bag and put it over, and that way nothing sticks to my brayer and I can roll out any bubbles and make sure everything makes contact. Since I don't want to throw anything away, I want to be very thrifty. I have some cardboard from a box that I got, and I'm going to use that to give some substance and structure to my ornament. So I'm now Mod Podging that onto a piece of cardboard. I also want to let you guys know that I'm on social media, Facebook and Instagram as Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie, and I'd love to see you over there. The next thing I'm going to do is cut out around the actual shape of the bagpipes. If you're wondering why I asked you to subscribe and like and all that, it's just that it really helps my channel grow and lets YouTube know that people like my videos. So I appreciate it when you do that. So just quick question, how many of you are already starting to decorate for Christmas? I haven't put anything up, I'm just doing the videos because that's kind of what you have to do on YouTube, but it feels so early. Let me know what you're doing. I'm going to use my Arteza paint markers and just color in some of the bagpipes and the metal and all of the pieces just to bring them more to life and give this a little bit more of a three-dimensional feel. Plus, the colors got kind of muted when I printed them out, so I really wanted to make sure that they stood out more. The next thing I'm going to do with my white marker is I'm going to write the Gaelic words for Merry Christmas. Well, I don't speak Gaelic, but I will do my best to pronounce it for you. It is Nolly Criel. I hope I did that right, so if you're Scottish, feel free to correct me somehow. Now those of you who know me know that I can never just leave it like it is. I have to add more. So here I am adding more again. To finish it off, I added some nautical rope around the edges just to give it a more finished look. And then I put a little popsicle stick on the back and put a little bit of twine so that you could hang it on the tree. And I just hot glued that, and it gave it more support and a place for hanging. I just love how this one turned out. I was worried it would be really hard to cut around all the bagpipe pieces, but it wasn't too bad. I just decided to leave some of them together like that because it was just too much trouble. But I think it's adorable, and I love that I was able to put the Gaelic words of Merry Christmas on there too. DIY ornament number 2. I cut out a little printable of the country of Scotland. Now there's a lot of little islands and little inlets, so I couldn't cut it exact. But then I took another piece of cardboard and I measured out a square, and that's what I'm going to use to support this because it's a lot smaller than the other ones. I chose another piece of the scrapbook paper, the Scottish plaid, and I'm going to put that over the entire cardboard. And then the map of Scotland's going to sit right on top, and everything's going to be Mod Podge just like before. But I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one, which you will see in a moment. I'm going to use a blue Sharpie to trace all the way around the entire borders of the country of Scotland. I'm going to use a blue Arteza paint marker to color inside all of the border lines that I created. Now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to make crossbars going diagonally across the country. Now what I'm doing is creating the Scottish flag over the country just because I thought that would be super cool. And now I'm using my white Arteza paint marker to color in the crossbars, and that will make the Scottish flag. Doesn't that look neat? So just a little info. The flag of Scotland is a white X-shaped cross, which represents the cross of the patron saint of Scotland, St. Andrew, on a blue sky. And the flag is called the Saltire or the St. Andrew cross. That was pretty interesting. I did not know that. And being my extra self, I added a little white border. I added some nautical rope around and I left extra at the top because this is going to actually hang diagonally. I used a little bit of jute twine to wrap around the top to create that little extra support. Added 3 beads, one was painted white, and then left a loop at the top to hang it, and there it is. I absolutely love the way this one came out, and I love the way the flag looks kind of over the country. It's just a really cool effect, and I'm so happy with how it came out. Tell me what you think in the comments. DIY ornament number 3. Now this ornament is going to be the cutest little Scottish Terrier dog. Oh my gosh. I always think of Scotland when I see a Scottish Terrier. Using the same tracing technique as I have done on the other ones, I'm going to cut out some of the plaid and put it on where his little sweater is and just kind of cover that up. And I'm using the Royal Stuart, which is our family's tartan. I'm going to Mod Podge everything on just like I have before, and I won't really have to say too much because you've seen me do this already a few times now. One thing that I did do different is I decided to braid 3 strands of the jute twine to make the hanger. And it's interesting because in Scotland they don't say braid, they say plait, P-L-A-I-T. Isn't he the cutest? Oh my gosh. His face is so adorable, and I love the little plaid on him. It's just adorable. I love it. And our last DIY ornament number 4. For this ornament, I'm using some jute twine, one of the little wooden snowmen cutouts from Dollar Tree, a really cool kilt that I had, which is really for a wine bottle, and then I've got some paint, ink by Waverly, a white sample I got at Lowe's, pumpkin by Waverly, crimson, and then I ended up using a teeny bit of the antique wax as well by Waverly. I separated the wood from the stand, and I'm using the one side that doesn't have any cutouts, and I'm going to cut down the sides so that the little kilt will fit on it. Those little extra humps were in the way, so I'm just using a blade to do that. So a little background on the kilt. For anyone of Scottish ancestry, the kilt is a symbol of honor for the clan which they belong. It was first worn by those who lived in the Scottish Highlands. The kilt was a manner of dress that afforded the fighting army with possibly its most useful tool. Today, the kilt is the national dress of Scotland, and it's worn by many. In fact, my husband has one, and he wore one at our wedding. As you can see, I'm painting the snowman white on both sides, and I did 2 coats to get a good covering. I'm using the ink chalk paint to paint his hat on both sides, and I'm going to use that same color for his eyes and for his mouth and his buttons. I made one of his eyes winking, but not so sure if it came out like a winking eye. You'll have to let me know. I attached the kilt with a dab of hot glue in the front and the back. I saved the wood sticks from my foam brushes, so I cut off a little piece and I made that his little corncob pipe. And I used a little piece of a skewer for the actual handle of the pipe. And I used the Waverly antique wax on the handle, and then I just used ink on the pipe itself. To create his scarf, I used some jute twine, which I wrapped around his neck, and then I made a little tassel by wrapping it around my fingers. I have a video where I show you specifically how to do it, so I will link that down in the description and up in the cards. That way I won't have to explain it. And that's how I made his little scarf. I used a little piece of jute twine to create a hanger on the back. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't have a few extra things to add. So I made a little red stripe on the front and back of his hat, which I actually think really added a lot. The other thing is I decided to add some smoke to his pipe, so I used a little bit of the cotton off of the Q-tip, and it was perfect because it kind of has a swirl to it and it looks just like smoke. You guys, I'm pretty sure this one is my favorite. I love snowmen, and then I love that he's wearing a kilt. So cute. And then I love the smoke on the pipe. I had so much fun making this one. You'll have to tell me what you think. And here is one last look at all of the ornaments that I made having to do with Scotland. This was such a fun collaboration. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Don't forget to check out the 2 hosts of this challenge, and go check out the playlist and let's see what everyone else did from their different countries. It's going to be so awesome. All the links are in the description box. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate your time. Have a blessed day. Bye.